Good morning, learners. Welcome to today's mediation of the test, which was written on the 3rd of October 2025. We know that on that date we wrote the sequence and series test. Now, without wasting time, let's go into it. My name is Hadlia Mampolo, so I'll take you through the solutions. I know that I sent you the Word documents of the solutions. So today I just want to mediate and then explain in words for learners who might find the answers not clear. The first question, if the nth term of quadratic pattern is Tn equals to 3n squared plus 2n minus 5, then the 500th term of the first difference is. Now, let's look into the pattern. The first term of the first differences of quadratic is the second term of that quadratic minus the first term of that quadratic. The second term of first difference will be the third term minus second term. So it means the pattern will continue the same way. So it means if you are required to determine the 500th term of the first differences, then this will be the 501st term of quadratic minus the 500th term of quadratic. So that is why now we determine the 501st term of quadratic and then and the 500th term of that quadratic. Then you find the difference. Then the difference will be the 500th term of the first difference of that quadratic. I hope it's clear, and as it means in this case, the correct option will be B. Number two, you are given the sequence, the quadratic pattern with missed terms. So you are given the terms here, and then the first one is 4 followed by 5, but the fifth term is negative 16. So it means we are not given the third and the fourth term. Now you are required to determine these terms. What do? Follow the same method with these unknowns. We know that when you determine the first differences, you say the fifth term minus the fourth term minus the second term minus the fourth term minus the third term minus the second term minus the first term. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now, we know that in a quadratic, the second differences are equal. It means the fourth term of the first difference minus the second term is equals to the second term minus the fourth term minus the third term of quadratic equals the third term minus the second. And then same thing, the third minus the second equals the second minus the first, because in a quadratic the second differences are equal. So we said here the third term of the first difference of its quadratic minus the second term equals the second term minus the first term. Then you make equation 1 out of it. Then you find the equation 1 as y equals to 3x minus 11. Now you go again and then make equation 2 by saying the third term minus the second term equals the second term minus the first term, because the common second differences of a quadratic are equal. Then you did that, then you manipulate this, then you get the answer as x minus y equals to 7 here. Then this is equation 2. You solve them simultaneously. Then you substitute 1 into 2. Then you get x as 2 and then y as minus 5. It means the third term is 2 and the fourth term is minus 5. Okay. Let's say now we go to the second one here. The 2.2 second one in this question. The 90th term of the sequence is, so we're still, so for us to find the 90th term, we cannot count one by one, then you can just say, use the method to get the nth term. So because now you calculated the third term as 2, the fourth term as -5, then you say you get the first differences, then you get the common second differences. You know that here will say 2a equals to -4, then you get a, then a which is -2, say 3a plus b equals to the first term of the first differences, which is 1, then you substitute -2, you get b equals to 7, and then you get c by say a plus b plus c is equals to the first term of the quadratic, and then c will be -1. Now in this case, then Tn will be -2n squared plus 7n minus 1. Learners, in most cases, after you find the Tn, check whether it satisfies the original equation. Let the n be 1, substitute it there. Check whether the answer is the same as the first term of the quadratic. Let the second term, for the second term, let n be 2. Check whether the answer is the same as the second term. So obviously you can just use the first two to check, or the first three to check. But remember, when you check, you don't have to write that on your answer sheet. So, and then here, when you calculate, then you'll find that your 90th term is equals to -15,571. 2.3. Which term of the sequence is -40,465? We know that if we say which term is, it means what is you are given the Tn, then you are calculating n. You want to know the position of this -40,465. Now, what you do when there's a Tn, you put -40,465, then you take everything to the left, you write your equation in a standard form, then you factorize. Remember, if you are not good in factorization, just use the quadratic to get the answer. But obviously, for the quadratic, you may not write it down, but you can just substitute. Then you get the values of n. Then you write down the factors. So I explained that why I prefer the quadratic method, because quadratic formula is given in the formula sheet. No one can say yes, has forgotten it. So then, if you want to go through that, please go to the same account or YouTube account and check the algebra mediation. So here, because you know that n cannot be negative for a fraction, then n will be 144. It means -40,465 is the 144th term of this quadratic pattern. Now, the third one, now we are focusing on the arithmetic sequence and series. Now, the statement says the 7th term of arithmetic sequence is 66 and the 11th term is 38. Now you are required to determine the first term and the common difference. Now, knowing that Tn of a quadratic you know that Tn of a quadratic is equals to A into n minus 1 times d. So obviously for the first one n is 7. So 7 minus 1 is a 6. Then equals to 66. Then you make equation 1. In this one, we can either use the substitution method or elimination method. So the second one, because it's the 11th term, it will be 11 minus 1, which is 10, equals to what? 38. Then you solve them simultaneously. You substitute 1 into 2. Then you get this 4d equals to negative 28. Now, let's check. Then this will be negative 28. Then d will be negative 7. Then to get a, you can substitute to one of the equations. I think you find this one easy. How many positive numbers are in the sequence? So first you'll say, what is the Tn? We know that Tn from here, when you say the first term is 108, you calculated it. The common difference is negative 7. The common difference is negative 7. When you simplify it, you get the Tn as negative 7n plus 115. Now, then, we say how many positive terms? Remember, the terms that are positive are greater than 0. So we say minus 7n plus 115 is greater than 0. So then minus 7 is equals to minus 115. Now, remember, when you divide, this will still be greater than, and then remember, when you divide by negative, inequality sign will change and to be less. So we say n is less than 16,42. Since n cannot be a fraction or decimal, so it means now you check the nearest whole number. The nearest whole number that is less than 16,42 is 16. If it was greater, you say the nearest whole number will be 17, but because it's less than, the nearest whole number is 16, because 16,42 is between 16 and 17. If it's less, you say 16. If it's greater, you say 17. So it means n is 17. So n is 16 in this case. So because the nearest whole number will be 16. So it means in this sequence, we have 16 numbers that are positive. 16 of the terms are positive. Then from there they begin to be they are negative. So 16 terms in the sequence are positive numbers. Number 4. The sum of first 4 terms of arithmetic series is 48, and the sum of the next 4 terms, meaning the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, is 144. So then if you check here now, then the sum of the 50 terms of the sequence is, let's start. We start with the given statement. We say sum of the first 4 terms is of the arithmetic. It was clear, arithmetic. Then that is why we use the formula for the sum of arithmetic, because we say sum of the first 4 terms, then n is 4. Then you don't know a, you don't know b, d. You don't know a, you don't know d, but you know that the sum of first 4 terms is a 48. Then you simplify it to get 2a plus 3d is equals to 24. Then this will be equation 1. Now equation 2, we say sum of the next 4 terms is 144. So the sum of the next 4 terms does not mean sum of 8 terms, because now sum of the next 4 terms, which is the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, it will be sum of all the 8 terms minus sum of the first 4 terms. Remember, if you add all the 8 terms, then you subtract the sum of the first 4 terms. Then the answer will be the sum of the 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 8th terms. So that is why we said this is the sum of 8 terms, where n is 8 minus 48, which is the sum of the first 4 terms. Then it's equals to 144. Because the statement does not say sum of the 8 terms you want is 144. It's the sum of the next 4 terms. It means that the first 4 terms must be excluded in this case. That is why we subtracted minus 40. You subtracted 48. Then the answer will be this. When you simplify it, you get this. But remember, the reason why here is 8, it means it says the sum of the first 8 terms minus 48 equals to 144. Now then you say the second term minus the first term. Let's do this. We can say the second term minus the first term. 2a minus 2a is a 0. 7d minus 3d is a 4d. 48 minus 24 is 24. Then when you divide by d, by 4, the answer will be 6. Now to get a, you can substitute to one of the equations, and then the answer will be the same. That's 4. 2a plus 3 times 6 equals to 24. Then a will be equals to 3, because you have 24 minus 18, which is equals to 6. Then 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then now that you know the value of a and d, then you can get the sum of the first 50 terms. Then where this, and you put 50, then it's 2 into 3, then it's 50 minus 1, the d is 6, then you get the answer. Now we go to number 5. In number 5, if 7x plus 17 and 2x minus 1 and x minus 7 are the first 3 terms of arithmetic sequence, the numerical values of x is, we know that the property of quadratic sequence is that the second term minus the first term equals to the first term. So the second term minus first term is equal to the third term minus the second term. So when you simplify it here, you must say minus into, because if you just say minus 7x plus 17, it's like you only subtract 7x. So you say minus into, it's to show that you are subtracting the whole of the first term. So here we say x minus 7 minus 2x minus 1, then you simplify it, you get x as negative 3. Number 6, 3 plus 7 plus 11 plus, then you have the missing terms, and then the last term is 179 are the terms in the arithmetic series. How many terms are in the series? So we know that the last term is equals to Tn. Now, you say Tn equals to a plus n minus 1d. Tn is 179, which is the last term. Now, 3 is a, and then n minus 1, then you know that you see that the common difference is 4. Then when you simplify it, you get n as 45. It means now, if you write all the missing terms, then you will have 45 terms in this series. Some of the terms in the series which are not multiples of 3 is, remember here, I'm not saying the sum of the terms which are multiples of 3. I'm saying the sum of terms which are not the multiples of 3 in the sequence. So it means we'll say the sum of all the terms in the sequence minus the sum of the terms which are the multiples of 3. then it means the answer will be the sum of the terms which are not multiples of 3. Let's start with this one. Sum of all the 45 terms is 1495 using the sum formula of the sum. Now we find the sum of the multiples of 3. Then first we'll have to get the multiples of 3. Multiple of 3, the first one is 3 in the sequence, the second one is 15, the third one is 27. I know that one learner can ask how you got that. We continue the pattern. If you check here, here is the common difference is 4. Obviously the first multiple of 3 would be 3. The next one, when you add 4 from this 11, it will be 15, which is the multiple of 3. That's how you wrote it. From there, when you add 4, you get 19. You get 4, add 4 again, you get 23. When you add 4 again, it will be 27. That is why we say the first 3 terms, which are multiples of 3 in this sequence, are this. But now, since the 179 is not the multiple of 3, then we say therefore Tn will be less than 179. So then you do that, less than 179, the n will be 18. It's less than 18, then n would be less than 15,6, but because it's less than, then you'll say the next, the closest whole number, which is less than 15,66, it will be 15. It means in this sequence, there are 15 terms which are multiples of 3. Then you calculate the sum of the multiples of 3. In those multiples of 3, you see that the first term is 3, the common difference is 12. Because 15 minus 3 is 12, 27 minus 3 is also a 12. Then you say equals to 1305. Now, remember, this is not what we want. These are the sum of the multiples of 3. But we want the sums of the terms which are not the multiples of 3. Then you will say the sum of all the sequence which we calculated in number 1. Okay, sorry, if we calculate, remember we calculate the sum of all the terms in the sequence. You got the answer of 1495. You got the answer of 4095, and the sum of the 15 terms in the sequence which are multiple of 3 is 1305. Now it means the sum of the terms which are not the multiples of 3, which are not multiples of 3. Let me just write it nicely. The sum of terms which are not multiples of 3, which are not multiples of 3, which are not the multiples of 3 in this case, then you say it will be the sum of all terms minus the sum of the multiples of 3. It means the sum of the terms which are not multiples of 3 is 22790. Now, the next question. If you are given the the series like this, remember, once you were given the sigma notation, you know that we are talking about the series. It's not something that you should wait for the examiner to ask you. Once you see this, if they give you the series, you know that they're talking about the sum. So we say the value of m is, now we are calculating the value of m. Now don't forget that the value of m can only be equals to n if the index of summation is 1. Here, the index of summation is 0. So n is always this one on top plus 1 minus the index of summation. It means now A will be 3, because now always when you find A, you'll find the A will be, you make your variable to be your index of summation. Our index of summation is 0 here. It means you start with 0. Then we say 5 times 0 is a 0, then it's 3, then A is 3, then D. Always the coefficient of the variable is D, but normally I'll just encourage you not to, maybe let's say you must write the the sequence and the series and determine D. So if K is 0, you see that the first term will be 3. If K is 1, you'll see that the second term will be 3 minus 5, which is minus 2. The third term is when K is 2, then you say minus 5 times 2 is minus 10, then 3 minus 10 is minus 7, then you can just say, because you write only the first 3 terms. So that is why then, but if you check here, if you say minus 2 minus 3, then the answer will be minus 5. Then A is 3, D is minus 5, N is M plus 1 minus 0, which is N plus 1. So remember, like I told you, then N is always this one on top plus 1 minus our index of summation. So it's M plus 1 minus 0. Then the N will be M plus 1. The sum is given here. Once you are given the sigma notation equals to, it means that answer is the sum. Because the sigma is the Greek symbol S for sum. So if they give you the sigma notation and say determine or they say evaluate, once you see the sigma notation, you must know that we are talking about the sum. Now the formula the formula for arithmetic series or the formula of the sum, it will be n over 2. Then n in this case is m plus 1, then over 2 into 3, which is a, plus m plus 1, m plus 1, you put it where there's n, minus 1. This is your n. So you know that the sum here would be n minus 1, then n is this one, minus 1 is this one, then d is minus 5, then it's equals to minus 2, 2, 3, 2. Then you simplify, then you multiply the other side by 2, then you will no longer have this denominator. Then here 2 times 3 is a 6, here 1 minus 1 is a 0, then minus 5 times m is minus 5m. Then you FOIL it, then when you write it in a simplest form, you get this, then you factorize, then you can use the quadratic formula as I did in the mediation of algebra. Now, obviously, your m or n, the number terms cannot be negative or a fraction. Then it means you reject this value, then it means m will be what? 30. It means the sum of m terms. Sum of m terms, it will be what? It will be this answer. So this will be your answer. So m will be 30. Then the correct answer is B there. Okay, let's do this again. Must look nice. It must look very nice. Let me just quickly, or let me just cut one part here so that it looks nicely. Let's do this. Okay, let's see this. Here you are given that the sum of the fm terms, the sum of m terms is greater than 700. So Now the question is, then let's see let's write down the question. You say the list. Say the list. Oh, let me just see. If the list value of m is, remember, if it's greater, we'll say the least value of. If it's less, we'll say the greatest value of. The reason why we say the least value of, if something is greater, it means others will be greater than what you got. So it means the smallest value will be. But if it's greater, it's less, you will say the greatest value, because there will be many values less than, but the greatest one is. So it means the when it's less, the greatest one is the closest. When it's greater, the least one is the closest. Now, let's just see this. Okay. Now you find the first. First you see what is A7. How do you divide? Like I said, you can just write down the first three terms. First one, you let k to be 1 because the index of summation is 1 there. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3 is 7. From there, we say 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3 is 11. Then we say 4 times 1 times 3 is 12 plus 3 is 15. Then, like I said, you only write the first three terms. So writing the first three terms will help you to find the value of A and also the value of D. Then A is 7, D is 4 again, and N equals to M. Why do we say N is equals to M? Because our index of summation is 1. Because you say M plus 1 minus 1. So always know that if k is 1, or if the index of summation is 1, it means the answer here is the same as the n. So m is equals to n. The sum of n terms is greater than 700. So our n is the same as m. So 2 times 7, m minus 1. Because where there's m, you put n. Where is this n, you put m. Now, into 4 greater than 700, I mean to say. Now, you multiply through it by 2. Then you have 700 times 2 to be 1,400. Then you clear the brackets, you take 1,400 to the left, you use a quadratic formula, you'll find that m is greater than 17,38. So because for greater than, the closest will be what? 18. It means the least value of m is 18. Why do we say the least? Because now 19 is also greater than 17,38, but the least, the smallest value, it will be 18. In this one, let's see. Let's make it, let's see this. The next one we say, if the first term of geometric series is 5 and the seventh term is 5 over 1496, determine the constant ratio. We know that Tn of geometric, I can rather say geometric series or sequence, that, and then is Tn would be 8 to the power r minus 1, 8 r to the power n minus 1. In this case, n is 7. So, and then it means seventh term where n is 7, then 7 minus 1 is 6. The first term is given is 5, then you divide both sides by 5, you get 1 over 1496. But remember, when you, since the exponent is an even number, you say plus or minus. It means now if r is 1 over 4, or if r is negative 1 over 4, it will satisfy the statement. So the answer is plus or minus 1 over 4. So, but remember, learners, you can only say plus or minus when you calculate R in a term. If you say R, if the term is given, so but if you is sum, you can't say R because when there are negative values in the sequence and there are positive values, the answers will never be the same. So you only say plus or minus when you are calculating R given the term and the exponent is the even number when you are making R the subject of the formula. If the sum, let me go back here. If the sum of the first three terms of geometric series is -4, and the sum of the next three terms, fourth, fifth, and sixth, is 378, then the first term and the constant ratio are, so now you say S3 is equals to -1,4, then you use the formula for the sum of geometric because you're told that this is a geometric series. Then R is 3 because it's the third term. So N is 3. Then you make the first term. The second term we say that as we did with arithmetic. If I say the sum of the next three terms, then you say the sum of all the six terms minus sum of the first three terms. So that is why we say the sum of the first six terms minus the sum of the first three terms, which is minus 14. Then you get the answer here. Then you get 364. Now, then you say equation 2 divided by equation. Here you'll say then you say equation. When you are dealing with this kind of question, here you equate. You don't substitute. It will make your life easy. Then so equate, or you can just say equation 2 divided by equation 1. This will make your life very easy. Equation 2, what's the division? Divided by equation 1. When you divide them here, then here you'll change division to multiplication. This goes up, this comes down. This divided by this, it will be that. Then R minus 1 cancel R minus 1. Then R to the power 3 cancel R to the power 3. Here, here you factorized. Here it will be 3. Let's correct it because here this will be difference of 2 squares. Then R to the power 3 cancel R to the power this bracket cancels this one. Then A cancels A. This R minus 1 cancel R minus 1. Then we'll remain with R to the power 3 plus 1. Here this one divided by this. Then you get the answer, the negative answer here. Then the answer will be negative 26. If you get negative 26, then when you take it to the other side, then this will be negative 27. Then R will be the cube root of negative 27, which is negative 3. Now, to get A, you can substitute to one of the equations, then you get A as negative 2. Now, if you can go back and try to get the first three terms of the sequence and then find the terms, you'll find that they satisfy the statement. A is negative 2. Given x plus 2 plus into 1 minus 2x plus 2 minus 7x are the first three terms of geometric series. Now, determine the values of x. Determine the values of x. Sorry. Let's move this, make it to be nice. Let's take it back. Let me just move it a bit. Okay. The values of x for which the series converges is or are, because you are not sure that they are 2 or 1. Now, first you'll say 2 minus 7x equals to 1 minus 2x. Remember, in a geometric, second term divided by first term. Second term divided by first term is equals to the third term divided by second term, or the third term divided by second term equals to the second term divided by the first term. Then you cross multiply this, multiply to this multiply to this, then you get you clear the brackets, you add the like terms. When you write it in a standard form, you get this. Then you can factorize using a quadratic formula, as I did in algebra mediation of the answers. Now you got 3 over 11 and negative 1. Now, if you are given this kind of a question where they say they find the values of x for which this will converge, remember the series can only converge if r is between -1 and 1. Now, let's look. Now we test them. We put these x values in the original here. Remember, first, you know this terms here. You know the terms. First one, you'll take this from the original equation. First one, you say you are going to substitute x as 3 over 11. So you say 3 over 11 plus 2, then you get 25 over 11. Here you say 1 minus 2 into 3 over 11. Then you get the answer is 5 over 11. From there you say 2 minus 7 into 3 over 11. Then you get the answer is 1 over 11. Then when you try to find the common difference, if you check here, you'll find that r is 1 over 5. Then how did you get r? You say 5 over 11 divided by 25 over 11, you'll get 1 over 5. Or 1 over 11 divided by 5 over 11, you still get 1 over 5. This 1 over 5 is between -1 and 1. Then it means when x is 3 over 11, the series converges because r would be 1 over 5. But let's check when x is -1. When you put -1 here, -1 plus 2 is 1. -1 times -2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. Here is -1 times -7 is 7 plus 2 is 9. It means common difference here is 3. It means if x is -1, the series will not does not converge because r is not between -1 and 1. R is greater than 1. So it means for convergency, x is not equals to -1. So x is equals to 3 over 11, because when x is equals to 3 over 11, r will be between -1 and 1. So for convergency, x will be equals to 3 over 11, and x will not be equals to -1, because when it's -1, the series does not converge, meaning that r is not between -1 and 1. Hence, or otherwise, sum of the infinity of the series is, it means now we are determining the sum of infinity. Remember, sum of infinity can only be calculated if the series converges, if r is between -1 and 1. It means for us to calculate sum to infinity, we are going to use the series where x is equals to 3 over 11. And when x is equals to 3 over 11, the first term will be 25 over 11. Hence you substitute here, then the r will be 1 over 5. Then it means for the sum of infinity in this case will be 25 over 40, 125 over 44. which is option A. Now, let me cut this and put it here. Now, given 10, 5, 5, 5, 5 over 2, 5, sometimes if you find this weird kind of a sequence, see 10, 5, 5, 5, check whether it's not a mixed sequence. Now, which one of the following is the correct representation of segmentation of the first 35 terms? Remember, the first 35 terms will be 8, one will be 18, the other will be 17. If you check here, we have a mixed sequence here. The terms in odd number positions would be 4, 5, takes us 10, 5. Odd number position, I mean number 1, number 3, number 5. The series will be like this. It means the common ratio is half. Then the terms in the even number positions are 5s. The terms in the even number positions are 5s. That is why you see that it means the 70. Remember, if we say 35 terms, out of these 35 terms, we have only 17 even numbers, but odd numbers we have 18. Remember, the geometric sequence one is in odd number positions. So, and then the odd numbers out of 35 are 18. So it means out of this it will be the 18 terms which are geometric series, and then we have 17 terms of 5s. Then it means the correct answer. But remember, if you the n will be 18 and 17, the index of summations, it must be 1. Then it means the correct option in this case will be your C. The sum of the first 35 terms is, so obviously the sum of the first 35 terms, let's check, this will be the sum of 18 terms and 5 times 17. Remember, we have 17 5s in this, then the answer will be 105. Then use the sum of 35 terms will be the sum of 18 terms of geometric and the sum of 5 terms of 5s. Sum of 17 terms of 5s. If the sum of n terms of the series is expressed as that, then sum of 30 terms of the series is, then you say Tn is equals to Sn minus 1. Remember, if you have 100 terms, you want the term number 100. So you have sum of 100 terms. It means if you say sum of 100 terms minus sum of 99 terms, then it will be that only one term, which is the 100th term. So sum of 30 terms will be, the 30th term of the sequence will be sum of 30 terms minus sum of 29 terms. Then you use this formula here. The first one you substitute n as 30, you say minus into, then you say substitute n as 29. Then the answer will be 408. It means the 30th term of this sequence will be 40. The 30th term of this series will be 408. Now, in this one, I wanted to check whether or to familiarize you with the word problems in sequence and series. The question says, Graham prepares for Comrade Marathon. In the first day, he covered 20 kilometers. The next day he increased his daily distance by 7. If you talk about increase in terms of addition or maybe decrease in terms of subtraction, not as a fraction, you must know that the sequence is arithmetic. But if they say something decreases with the scale factor or increases with the scale factor, then it will be geometric. If it increases in terms of multiplication, then it will be geometric. If it increases in terms of addition or subtraction, it will be arithmetic. So in this case, you say increase the daily distance by 7 kilometers. So it means Graham add 7 kilometers every day. Then this will be our arithmetic. Then remember, in a word problem, you talk about the first or the initial. You know that is A. That is why you say the distance covered in the first day is 20 kilometers. When you see the word first, it means that this 20 will be your A. And then your common difference is 7. And then your N will be 8 here, because you say calculate the distance Graham covered in the 8th day. So now it means, because talk about the 8th day, then N will be 8. Then because we're talking about the distance on that day, we're not saying the sum of the distance, say the distance in that day, then you find the nth term of arithmetic. Because we talk about the distance in the 8th day, then we are talking about the term. Then the N is 20, N A is 20, N is 8, then D is 7. Then it means the distance that will be covered by Graham in the 8th day, it will be 69 kilometers. Calculate the total distance. Once they say the total distance, the total, we are talking about the sum. Then it means in the 12th day. Then it means in this case N is 12. Now you use the formula of the sum. Then you say it means in the 12th day, the total distance Graham covered from the first day when he covered 20, then it will be 702 kilometers. That was covered in 12 days. Now, the last one. Marius gets a farm job for 2 weeks. He asked the employer to be paid 10 cents per day in the first day, which will be doubled the next day to be 20 cents. 20 cents to be doubled, next day to be 40 cents, and continue that way. Now here, you hear that if something doubles, then you multiply. If there's something increases by multiplication or by division, or decreases by division, then we say that is a geometric, because once you double, it means there's R, it's not D. But if something increased by adding or subtracting, then it's arithmetic. If it's by multiplication, so when you double something, you multiply. So it means A would be 0,1. Why is it 0,1? Because at the end, if we want to calculate, remember we say how much in rents should the employer pay Marius at the end of the fortnight. So now that you want this in rents, so it means we must convert this cents to rents. So 10 cents is the same as 10 over 100, which is 0,1 of a rent. So because you cannot add the numbers of different units, and then you say, then R is 2 because you say we double, then N is 14. Remember, fortnight has 14 days. Now, because remember this doubles every day. Then your A is 0,1, and then your R is 14, your N is 14, your R is 2, your N is 14. Then when you get the answer, then you get 1,638 rand 30 cents. It means this is the money that Marius should be paid at the end of the fortnight. Leonard, thank you so much for viewing this. And thank you for subscribing on this my YouTube account. And the reason why I created this, I know that when I organize the lesson, you may not come at the same time, but we're in your own space. When you want to go through this mediation, you can do so. Um, I want to close this by saying, if you didn't do well, you didn't do well in the third term. That does not define you. Tender things, you can tender things around. If it didn't happen in the third term, does not mean it won't happen. Just fire all your cylinders, and then if you have not drawn your study timetable, then it means time is running out. Please make sure that you balance your subject. You study at least one subject. You study all the subjects every day, even if it can be 45 minutes an hour, but you cover all the subjects. You balance so that when the exam comes, most of the things you just go back and revise. You cannot just say you study all the things in one day when you write the next day. Then it will be difficult for you. Thank you so much. And then until we meet again, thank you for watching.